All right. We're coming to you from the NRA annual meetings 2025 from Hotlanta. I've got Travis Franklin here of Fiocchi Ammunition. Dude, how's it? Like, what are your vibes right now from the show floor?
There was a lot of people out at the front door when I had to run back to my room because I forgot these in my room.
Of course.
And had to fight the sardine can crowd to get back in. So
they're pushing through. So something that I've noticed just walking through, it seems like a very positive vibe. People walking through, they're excited to be here.
Yep.
And that's the most important thing about it. And everybody looks forward to the NRA show every year.
Yeah.
One, because a lot of new products are launched around this time, and they want to talk to the people who develop them, like you guys. And you guys have just came out with the CovertX. We shot it a while back, and we were excited when we first shot it.
Yeah.
So what are you guys doing? What's Fiocchi doing? And man, I am going to ask what's next, but let's talk about what's now.
Yeah. So like you were saying, our CovertX, we just launched it a little bit earlier this year at SHOT Show. It's now shipping. It should be hitting the shelves probably this week, actually.
Yeah.
It all started shipping over the last couple of weeks. So really, what is it? It's a line of what we call concealed carry weapon or CCW-enhanced hollow points.
Okay. So what does that mean? Because I know the guy sitting on the couch that's not able to make it to Hotlanta, he's asking himself right now, well, do we need another defensive round? I mean, because we have so many out there to choose. We have so many to choose from. What separates CovertX from your standard defensive rounds?
Yeah. So, whenever you have the small, compact, concealed carry handguns, they're great. They're comfortable to carry.
Yes.
They're easy to carry, easily concealable. The problem is, as you start reducing that barrel length, you lose velocity.
Okay.
And, all projectiles, as far as hollow points, they're designed to perform within a certain velocity parameters, right? So from 1,100 feet per second down to 950. This bullet's going to work. And once you drop below that, you start to really lose the performance that folks are expecting or thinking they're going to get when they buy it off the shelf. And so what we did is, and I say we, what the engineers did, I'm standing here talking about it.
He says we. It was all Travis's idea.
No.
This was his. I know the guy's
I'm
back
standing
first.
here talking about it, and those guys are the ones that actually take these sometimes ridiculous requests and actually turn them into reality. So
do you love to just challenge them every day? Because it seems like the engineer guys that are behind, especially like the ballisticians and stuff like that are behind a lot of this ammunition, they like a challenge.
Yeah.
And so when guys like you sit there and go, what if we did this? And they're going, oh my gosh, I'm on it.
Yep.
Because then their wheels start turning. It's a collaborative effort.
I had a couple of the engineers that worked on this project said that they were up at night thinking about it, laying in bed going, oh, I need to get, as soon as I get to work tomorrow, I need to work on that because I've got an idea. I think I might be able to tweak this. So the ask that we gave them was to make a hollow point bullet from 380 up to 45 auto.
Okay.
A hollow point design that performs at the velocity that you're going to get from the smallest firearm in each of those calibers.
Okay.
But because, no good task can be super simple.
Right.
We got to complicate it a little bit. Is we said we want it to work out of those micro compact guns and still expand, still have adequate penetration and gel testing, but it needs to still perform out of a full size handgun.
Okay.
And so, when I mentioned that velocity window of like 1,100 feet per second down to 950, being typical, what we didn't move the velocity window lower.
Right.
We said it still needs to work at 1,100 feet per second without over-expanding, without blowing up, losing pedals, coming apart.
Right.
But we just need you to make it work at down to 700 or 750 or, depending on the caliber.
My gosh. Well, what's great about this is that you and Ryan had a chance to, since we're talking about the development of it and what task you gave, you and Ryan had a chance to be on the range with this stuff. And he asked you probably the hardest hitting question I've seen. So let's cut to that video and see what Ryan thinks about it on the range.
I want to know the secret sauce. You guys, this is not just loading a jacketed hollow point. You've actually designed and manufactured this bullet, and there's a little of the secret sauce in here.
A little bit, yeah.
All right.
You know, like we've been talking about, the goal for this design was to make a projectile that expands at those lower velocities that you get for, you know, these small concealed carry handguns with short barrels. And so the task that we gave to our design team was exactly that. We said, here's the performance we want. Give us options. Tell us what we can do to make that bullet do what we want it to do.
So it starts out kind of like a regular bullet construction, but talk me through this.
Yeah, as any hollow point, it starts out, it's a cup and core bullet, so copper cup and a lead core.
Okay.
And so really the design is not changed too much until we get to these two stages here.
But you did say you start out with a thicker jacket.
That is correct, a heavier weight jacket and made of a thicker copper. And
why is that?
So what we've done on these two stages is we've not only have we punched the hollow point deeper and larger, but we've also used a shaped punch that goes in and it cuts these serrations, and they're intentional weak points that we've put into the lead core.
Yeah. To ensure that it opens up.
We do that so that even at very low velocities, that lead, that hollow point will naturally begin to open up.
So thicker jacket.
Thicker jacket.
You shape it. You get it ready for the lead core. You drop a lead core in. You shape that, but then this is kind of where the magic happens.
Correct. And that's where that punch goes in and shapes that lead and cuts those pre-cut serrations or weak points essentially in it. And then the next stage, those weak points are actually matched up with the jacket. So the jacket is also cut in the exact same corresponding locations. And that allows it to open up. That thicker jacket, though, holds it together. So that weaker lead core, if you will, begins to open up at a very low velocity, and that jacket holds it together so that you have ideal weight retention, giving you ideal penetration depth.
Because it's that balance, right? So a little bit softer lead, so it's going to open up, but this holds it together. Because you don't want it to open up quickly and not get the penetration.
Correct.
You're trying to find that balance. And then you get beautiful mushroom bullets like this.
Every time.
Every time. All right. That's what's going on. That's the behind the scenes, the secret sauce in CovertX.
The secret sauce is really the performance, and what we didn't show in there, and we have the footage of the rounds going into the gel. I don't know why we put that, because the energy transfer is still just as good, and the wound channels are great. I mean, you're not going to get over penetration, and you saw that within that gel. So what type of performance on the energy transfer did you guys work on? I mean, is there, because I know the thicker jacket, you guys did a lot there, but how does that transfer into energy?
You know, really, the ideal penetration depth on gel that you're looking for, the most permanent wound cavity, you know, that from that energy transfer is about that 8-inch mark. After 8 inches, it's began to slow down enough that now it's just mechanical energy. It's just actually cutting.
It's getting through.
And getting through. But it's not causing any sort of displacement of the gelatin due to that energy transfer. And so, you know, these bullets, they hit that mark. They're at about 8 inches typically is when you start to see the end of that permanent wound cavity. You know, what's really unique about these rounds is that, again, not only do they work in the micro compacts, they still work in the full-size handguns, but the breadth of calibers that we were able to get that performance out of. You know, the 380 that I know I brought down and we were shooting just a couple of weeks ago, you know, we're able to get about 13 inches, 14 inches of penetration with a 380, but it actually does open up and creates a permanent wound cavity, which, you know, with 380 is fairly rare. You typically can either get penetration or you can get expansion.
Rarely both.
It's
Rarely both.
Somewhat of a unicorn to get both.
Well,
so
and when we talk about these rounds, and one thing that you've got to have is consistency. And that's one thing that we saw when you were down. It was consistent. Like, there's no, like, well, you know, I mean, we get really good expansion and penetration 80% of the time. No, these are consistent 100% of the time. You get exactly what you expect. And that's one of the coolest things about it.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm
Right.
glad that
I mean, that's what you're looking
it's
at.
great to hear that from other people.
Yeah. So 380,
Yep.
9, 357.
38 special plus P,
Oh,
357, and 45 auto.
awesome. And just as good out of revolvers.
It works just as good out of revolvers. We, we were testing it with some incredibly small snub nose revolvers, and getting a 38 special out of a snub nose to expand and still go 14 and a half, 15 inches in gel is it makes the engineers, their reaction the first time they test it and they see it works,
they're like
priceless.
They're like, yes, it worked finally. I was just sitting here thinking while you were talking about that, and we're talking about these shorter barrels, and it works out of the full size. Have you guys tried it out of like lever actions, like a 357?
We did not. We didn't work it up to lever actions.
Yeah.
We worked it up to what would be considered a standard barrel length, so 5.5 to 6 inch barrel length, a SAMI standard by per caliber. Out of a lever gun, I can imagine it would be fun.
I bet it would work too.
I
bet it would.
That jacket is a heavy enough jacket.
I have some back to the office.
I think
that's going to be the first thing that I do when I get back to the office is I'm going to try this out of lever action, because why not? I mean, why not test stuff and see how far these guys have worked?
Yeah.
Like, see how much effort you put into it to make it work on shorter barrels. And so, okay, if it works out of full size, why couldn't it? Mm-hmm. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't. So
we'll find out.
We'll find out, because I'm gonna do it when I get back. So, Travis, man, I appreciate you joining us, stepping up. If this may not go out just right today, but I'm going to tell you right now, go check it out. Where can they find more information?
So, on our website, FiocchiUSA.com.
Yep.
Right now, it's a scrolling banner across the headline, across the header of the website. So you can click that, and it'll take you directly to the page, tell you everything you want to know about the product.
I'm telling you, CovertX, get in there, get in on this very quickly, especially if you're carrying those micro compacts, those compact guns. This will perform for you consistently.
Yep.
For more great gun content, subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages. You can also watch the Gun Talk channels on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon. And of course, you can always find us at guntalk.com. Thanks for watching.